The LGBTQI community, like they say, it's a beautiful community. We call it the rainbow community because it's filled with all sorts of loves. But like as all community come, it comes with its own illness too and its own ills. And one of them is child sexual molestation and pedophilia. Now, child sexual molestation is no news in Nigeria here because we get cases recorded every day, piling up to hundreds of thousands of cases per year. Like they say, children are blessings from God and need to be loved, protected, and cared for. But it seems like these days, those that are saddened with the responsibility of caring for these children, which are the parents and guardians, are too busy trying to make money that they leave their children in the hands of uncles, family members, brothers, or even friends, thereby molesting these children. Like we say again, the LGBTI community member is a beautiful community, but we also have sexual molestations in this community too, destroying children. And this is one of the stories. This is the story of Obed Joshua, who shares the horrific experience of how his uncle molested him, sucked his dick, and did all sorts of things to him when he was young. So
Community needs to re-strategize, and one way for us to re-strategize is to individually, personally invest in ourselves.
Welcome to another beautiful one-on-one episode. Welcome to another amazing show. Today we have a special guest in the house. Our guest for today has a story to tell. He was molested when he was 7 years old, and he's proud of this act. In his previous video, his word was like, "I am glad my uncle did it to me." Today we have Obed Joshua. Welcome, Obed Joshua.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here once again.
Obed, we've had an interview with you before on Q Talk. In short, it was Marvelous who had that interview with you, which was on the episode of Sex and Money. And you talked about this molestation, which caught the audience attention. Could you tell us when this happened and how it happened?
Well, I was 10 that then. I was 7, just like you said. And I had this uncle that was, or should I say that is part of the community. And during those days, I was a kid and he usually do get me packages and all this stuff. So I never knew what his intentions was. And those days, as I can rightfully recall, he's normally fond of me, takes care of me, all these things without I knowing that there was something in his mind. So as time goes on, he started betting me, and during that time when we spend in the bedroom, that is when he normally sucks my dick. That's when all this stuff started.
When you were 7?
Yeah, when I was 7, that was when I was very, very tender then. So I myself, I never saw it as something really bad. I don't know what it was. I never knew what it was. It was very, very okay with me, you understand?
Did it occur to you to tell your parents about this uncle?
I really love my uncle, so I so much believe that he wasn't doing anything bad to me, that childish mentality, everything. So I never thought of it one day that it could be something bad, or maybe he's trying to. I believe he can't kill me, he can't hurt me, so I never see it as something wrong. And it never came in my mind to tell my parents. Moreover, he will also tell me, make sure you don't tell dad about this, make sure you don't tell mom about this, don't tell anybody. And despite the fact that my parents knows that he's gay, you understand this, so my parents knows about his sexuality. So I just kept it to myself. I kept quiet about it. The packages, the candies, the biscuit and everything. Who will want to say no to this? So I just kept quiet about it.
Sorry, could you just pause for 1 minute? I could hear some background. Let me just. Can we change where you are seated? Can you just relocate a bit?
Yeah. I can do that.
Because the cloud is so whitish and everything, so we can see you better.
Do you mind going inside?
If inside is going to be quieter, then it's fine by me.
Okay.
Our community needs to re-strategize, And one way for us to re-strategize is to individually, personally invest in our.
So if you are just joining us, this is the one-on-one segment, and today we have a very special guest in the house, Obed Joshua. His story is that his uncle started touching him when he was just 7 years old. His uncle will buy him candy, his uncle will buy him sweet, his uncle will take him to go take a shower, and in the process of taking him or giving him a bath rather, will begin to romantically touch him sexually. And he never thought it wise of telling his parents because he had the trust of his uncle and he really loved his uncle. His uncle literally lured him into this act. Over to you, Mr. Obed.
So I never thought of it being bad or seeing my uncle as someone that is going to hurt me. So I kept on continuing with him. Each time I wait patiently for him to take me to the shower before I get ready for school. And as time goes on, I never permitted my mom or my dad to take me to the shower room any longer. I decided that it must be my uncle. And they never thought it in their mind that something is really going on. So they just kept quiet about it. And I became so fond of him as he was so fond of me. So this started going on to an extent he decided to introduce me to pornography. So that was another stage.
At the age of 7.
Now, let me say I have reached maybe the age of 8 or 9, but I know that I was tender. I was so tender for that.
Okay.
So he started introducing me to pornography, to some sites. He started talking senses into me. So one of the days, I know I was with my siblings when he walked into the sitting room. And then he excused my siblings. He told them to leave. All of them left and went out to play with the neighbors. And when I stood up to take my leave, he asked me to sit back. So I sat back. I wasn't thinking of anything. I don't know what he had in mind. Moreover, it was not time for shower. So who can tell? So when I sat back, he closed the sitting room doors and the windows, and then brought out a DVD player, something like that, and then slot it into the DVD, and all of a sudden it was how shall I say it? It was pornography there, but I was just like looking at this. These are naked people. My God, I haven't seen this for the first time. Like I was so damn confused. So he sat me down and undressed me, and also he undressed himself. So he told me to focus. So I kept on watching that. I don't even understand what was going on. I was so quiet. I was looking at it. And the next thing I knew that was he started reminding me of his stuff. And I noticed it was hard. But then I don't even know what getting horny is all about. But I know that he wasn't planning to urinate, but I know that something was just standing there. So I was watching him, and along the line, he told me to lie down, of which I did. He never penetrated me annually, but the only thing is he had to engage me on a lap sex. So that was where we started the first time having this sex of his stuff, and that was it. So he had a lap sex with me, and it continued. Each time he visited home, this kept happening. And I never opened my mouth to tell anybody. I just chose to keep quiet. I just decided to keep mute about it. So that was it until I was age 15. Then I had to travel to Lagos. Nigeria, where I met him again. So
this time when you traveled to Lagos, did you go to Lagos to see him? What took you to Lagos?
Okay, my going to Lagos was I was there. I went to learn trade with my late uncle, so I had to stay at his place because he was the one that was to teach me. So staying at my late uncle's place, then this particular uncle that kind of introduced me or converted me into this act, normally come to his house and do some laundry washes and cook for him. Normally he does that because he was the last child of the family. So I was there one day, he came around, and before then I was having this same-sex feeling for someone, but I wasn't picturing it well. I wasn't understanding what it was. So until one day he came, I he was sitting in the sitting room, and I was there with him. So I was going through my phone, I was watching some pornographies and everything. So all of a moment, in a moment, I have this flash of something in my head.
Sorry to cut you. Could you just turn again, because like everything is just white where you are? Can you? Yes. Okay, better. Continue.
Okay. So all of in the moment he was sitting there, he was just wearing his black pants like normally he does, and the print and everything was just there. So in that moment, I could just have this flashback of something. I could just remember something that must have happened between the both of us. So I could just remember it. So I decided to just walk up to him. I decided to do something. Moreover, I was honey. He was busy with his newspaper, going through the magazines, and like he normally do. And I crawled up to him, and I started the whole stuff, and I noticed he got aroused, and that was it. But nothing anally really happened. We had the same lap sex. So this lap sex continued until when I was 16. Then it was on my 16th birthday when I was at Lagos that I decided, like I told him, I told him, I really want to have this stuff for real. I want to see how it is. So at first, he never approved it from me. At first, he never approved it. He was like, can't you go outside and look for someone else or something like that? I told him, no, I can't go outside.
I am pretty sure that's the same thing in everybody's mind that will be watching. Why your uncle? Why did you still go back to your uncle?
Well, why I went back to him, I love the man, so I never saw something bad there. Sometimes my friends say it's awful, but to me, it wasn't.
Don't you think you were so much traumatized that you were comfortable in your traumas from childhood? That was what made you stick with him.
I was so okay with the whole stuff. I wasn't bothered. I would never complain to anybody about it. I was so perfectly okay with him. He's my uncle. He's not going to mislead me or something. And even to tomorrow, I thank him for it. Even to tomorrow, I'm happy to have him around. I'm happy he was the best teacher I had then. At least he gave me guidelines. He told me how things should be done and everything. So until on my 16th, and that was on April 6th, 2015, that the whole stuff happened. I had a conversation with him. He told me to go outside and look for someone that you can have an intercourse with. So I told him no, that I don't know anybody here in Lagos. So he told me that he can invite friends, any of them, then I can choose. And I still refused. I told him I want him to be the one that would disvirgin me. I want him to be the one that would deflower everything. So he couldn't take it. He angrily left the house the first time. The second time he left, like he started avoiding me. So one of the days, I know that he likes drinking. So I had to get him a good drink, and he drank, and he was okay. I never got him drunk, but he drank and he was okay. So I then made the request again to him. So he was like, fine, if that is what you want, you can get it. But I saw it in his eyes, even when he was about doing that. He wasn't doing it with the whole of his heart. Deep down in him, he was feeling like this shouldn't be done. I could see the tears in his eyes. He wasn't okay with it. But we went to the room. The whole drama started and everything. And it just happened. So that was the little time I had with him before he was caught and everything. And what?
Did you say he was caught?
Of course, he was caught, but not with me.